What's the difference between a standard problem versus an R&D problem? If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that R&D claims need to be facing something called technological uncertainty. So I'm going to highlight 5 sectors, and let's see if you can spot the uncertainties as we go. Architecture. Project 1. A residential house is being upgraded to passive house standards. The architect carrying out this job has had success with 3 other houses just like that this year. No innovation is required, just a rulebook with a step-by-step instruction. Project 2. The same goal is to be achieved, a building to passive house standard. But now, change that residential house to a private school. The building is also Grade 2 listed and therefore restricts you from using everyday methods. Now add in a swimming pool. And finally, instead of there being only 5 people in the house, let's add 500 students. What's the uncertainty? Any architect will agree that Project 1 holds very little chance of there being any R&D claim. They've already used tried and tested methods that can be applied without risk or worry. On the other hand, Project 2 has a much better chance for a claim. The build itself will have a multitude of uncertainties, as a copy and paste method cannot be simply applied, and therefore will require out-the-box thinking. Number 2, food production. Imagine yourself as a food manufacturer facing the following 2 scenarios. Project 1. Your top-selling product is the chocolate fudge cake. It's so good that you've decided to make 3 other flavours of it: fudge, white and orange chocolate. Now, as the recipe is fairly straightforward and you've made it 100 times before, you know exactly what ingredients to add to get the perfect outcome. Project 2. Now you decide to make a vegan-friendly version of your top-selling cake. You want it to taste the same, to smell the same, to have the same consistency as the original. But how do you do that with no eggs, no milk, butter, or chocolate chips? The uncertainty? Using plant-based alternatives and hoping for the same outcome will surely bring about major complexities. Everything will be different, from the shelf life to the ingredient properties. Many test batches will need to be run. Ingredients will need to be measured and mixed at different times to record changes in things like taste, or components, or textures. Even the science behind how these ingredients will react together to get the desired product will be completely unknown from the outset. Which means we have another potential for a claim. Starting to catch on yet? Number 3, construction. 2 companies have been tasked to build a new motorway. Company A's brief: build a basic motorway in 12 months. Follow the same procedure as you've always done for the other motorways you've built this year. Company B brief: build the same basic motorway in the same 12 months, but this time include 20% of the materials from recycled products. Furthermore, in line with government changes, you'll need to reduce the carbon journey of this project by 25% in comparison with Company A. Can you guess this one? In this case, Company B needs to advance a number of things compared to industry standard techniques. They may need to use existing technologies or products, but in very new or novel ways. They may need to carry out trials and tests to incorporate their recycled materials to ensure that the properties are durable and robust enough. And finally, they'll need to adapt their entire design and build process to fall in line with the new government guidelines. Number 4, engineering. Get your Harry Potter on and design an invisible cloak. Imagine now that 2 engineering companies are to design the exact same product, an invisibility cloak. Now let's say the both products must perform the same, cost the same, and fit the same audience. Where would you guess the uncertainty lies here? Although the 2 companies will be producing the same product, how likely is it that they'll follow the same process as one another? Do you think they'll divulge their secrets to one another, or exchange advice and value through their different product journeys? Probably not. What will most likely happen is that each company will need to push beyond their knowledge within their field and innovate. They'll have to come up with completely new and unique processes and designs, mixed in with a huge amount of innovation thinking. And what does that mean? Yep, you're starting to get the hang of it now. Another R&D claim. Let's finish with software. Don't think features or functions. Think more about the underlying architecture, aka what's going on under the hood. We've all seen how advanced software has become in the 21st century. As it becomes a lot more accessible over the years, it's now one of the most scrutinised subjects within R&D claims. Therefore, it's super important that you know what true uncertainty looks like within IT projects. If you want to design an app, for example, even I know that you can go on YouTube, watch a tutorial, and all of a sudden you've got yourself an app. The only real uncertainty is that the lack of knowledge on how to put that app together. But it's not something that hasn't been done before. The knowledge is readily available and completely accessible in the industry. All of the answers are there at the click of a button, so this wouldn't be classed as R&D. However, companies are doing some fantastic things nowadays with augmented reality, artificial intelligence, and pushing boundaries within the IT programming space, ultimately making software do cool, new and impressive things that it couldn't do before. These platforms cannot function without unique underlying architecture, which is where an enormous amount of risk and experimentation comes into play. So there you have it, 5 sectors that highlight where R&D efforts may be applicable. Take what you've learned today and apply the same logic to your own projects. And if you have any doubts at all, my best advice is to come and talk with me directly or speak to your chosen specialist to explore the potential more.